Welcome to Plasma Process Group. Thanks for joining us. As a first step in cleaning, let's disassemble a mounted grid assembly. First, remove the discharge chamber and set it aside. Hey everyone, meet my helper, DC.
Hello! Be careful, the discharge chamber can chip or break.
Now, remove the hardware and insulators from the retainer plate. Let's remove the accelerator tab and the insulator stack.
Keep your parts in order and you'll avoid confusion later.
Remove the grids and retainer plate together as one item and set it aside. Remove the grid mounting stacks and take a note of any difference you find in the spacing. Next, remove the wave washers from the grid mount plate. Disassemble the grid mount plate and set it aside. Locate the screen grid strap and remove the screw from the retainer plate. Now separate the grids from the retainer plate and set the retainer plate aside. Place the grid assembly into the acrylic alignment jig and align the serial numbers and make sure the screen grid is facing up. Now remove the grid post nuts, the power strap, and the washers. Set the screen grid aside. Let's use a micrometer to measure the washers on the posts and make sure there are no differences. Now you can remove the Excel grid. Oh, here's DC again.
Now's a good time to make sure all 3 serial numbers are identical.
Remove the insulators and the washers from the posts, and then remove the D-cell grid. Now you can remove the hats and the power strap from the D-cell grid. Remove the strap from the Excel grid. Now remove the hats from the screen grid. Grid disassembly is complete. Good job. Let's clean some grids, shall we? Start by placing the insulators in a beaker filled with a tarnish remover to remove metallic films.
The cleaners we use look like this.
Rinse out all of the tarnish remover. Then rinse the ceramics with isopropyl alcohol. Sort through the insulators. We need to replace broken parts and bead blast those that still have a coating. Let's place the clean insulators under a heat lamp until they're dry. Before you do any blasting, check the dome height of the grids for reference. Set the bead blaster to 25 psi to clean the insulators and 35 psi for grids and metal hardware.
Only bead blast coated hardware, do not bead blast hats.
Grids and hardware should be bead blasted and cleaned separately from any ceramic insulators. When bead blasting grids, hold the nozzle at least 6 inches away from the grids, clean evenly, and keep the nozzle moving. Rinse all of the media off of the grids and then scrub them with liquid detergent. And now rinse the detergent off the grids. Suspend the grids in the ultrasonic bath containing a 2% solution of chelating detergent. Run for 30 minutes. Now we need to rinse the grids with filtered water and wipe dry with a tech wipe. If the tech wipe shows any dirt, then repeat the wash process. Now rinse the grids with isopropyl alcohol.
Be sure to capture the alcohol and dispose of properly.
Blow off the alcohol in a downward motion with lab nitrogen. Place the clean grid under a heat lamp for at least 15 minutes. Inspect the holes in the grids to make sure all coating has been removed. Re-clean is needed if you find anything in the holes. Clean the discharge chamber, insulators, and any other hardware, and we'll be ready for reassembly. To put grids together, start by making sure the ears are flat. Next, measure the dome height and check against your original grid tracking sheet. Observe the hole in the hats. D-cell hats have a larger hole than the screen hats. Install the D-cell hats onto the side opposite of the serial number. Now install the screen hats onto the side with the serial number. From here on, you must refer to the product drawing. Set up the posts and add the D-cell grid.
Make sure to align the serial numbers.
Add the proper spacing washers and the insulators. Again, refer to the product drawing. Add the Excel grid and the spacing stack.
Make sure the washers are the right thickness.
Now install the screen grid, the washers, the power strap, and the nuts. But don't tighten the nuts yet, you still have to align the grid. Align the power strap with the markings on the acrylic jig. Carefully wiggle the alignment pins through the grids and into the alignment jig.
Do not force them through the grids.
Install and align the Excel power strap. Now torque all the posts to 15 inch-pounds. Now carefully flip the grids over and install the D-cell power tab. You can use the spring tab to hold the screw in place. Now check for continuity or voltage leakage between the grids with an insulation tester. Check the grid spacing between the grids. Refer to the spacing measurement tech note on our webpage, plasmaprocessgroup.com. Place the grid stack onto the retainer plate and secure the strap with the screw. Assemble the grid mount ring. Now inspect the wave washers for shape and function before installing into the grid mount ring. Replace them as needed. Refer to the product drawing for the assembly of the grid mount posts. Add the insulators and the cups. Add the spacing washers. Add the top cups, more spacing washers, and the insulators. Carefully pick up the grid assembly and the retainer plate together and place them onto the grid support ring. Complete the stacks using insulators, the cups, and nuts, but don't tighten the nuts down yet. Assemble the power post stack per the drawing. Align the spring tab parallel to the grids, but turn it slightly towards them. Check and note the dome height before tightening the retainer plate. For instructions how to do this, see our grid spacing tech note on our webpage. Torque all nuts to 15 inch-pounds. Check the dome height again for a change due to compression. There should be no change. Check the gap at the retainer plate. There may be a visible gap, but thinner than a piece of paper. Install the discharge chamber, and the assembly is complete.